common thing that you'll hear a lot of people saying about when they stand in judgment before God. They'll think that, well, Jesus is just going to judge their intentions, and as long as they meant well, then everything will be okay. Unfortunately, that's not true. And we see that today in the case of Judas and his role in the passion of Jesus. Even though this is what Jesus intended to do and knew he was going to die on the cross to save us, that does not excuse Judas from the own choice that he was making. And he chose to betray Jesus, to hand him over for money. We don't know why he did that. No one has been able to say anything specifically or concretely about it. The fact that when after he realized that Jesus was not going to meet with the chief priest, but instead was going to be put to death, he went out and hanged himself, means things didn't work out the way he intended. He thought everything would be fine. Maybe he thought that Jesus wasn't meeting with the chief priest, so if he just forced him to meet with them, he would talk to them, they would listen to him, understand Jesus meant no harm, and then let him go free. If so, he didn't understand that the chief priests had no desire to listen to Jesus carefully. They were looking for an excuse to arrest him and accuse him of blasphemy and hand him over to death. They wanted him out of the way. And Jesus warned Judas of that beforehand. He says, one of you will betray me. And Judas had to know who he meant. And he says, the Son of Man is going as it is written, but woe to him by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for that man if he had never been born. So therefore, all of Judas's good intentions did not amount to anything, because Jesus says, woe to him. He even told him what he was doing was wrong, and he did it anyway. And if you think about it, nobody does anything deliberately to do something wrong. Even the people who do the most horrible and evil crimes in the world think they're doing something right. And if they think that Jesus is going to say to them when they stand in judgment before him, well, you meant well, so don't worry about it. Like if you said to Adolf Hitler, well, I know you killed 6 million people, but you meant well. You had Germany's best interest at hand, so don't worry about it. I'll let you into heaven. Well, it doesn't work that way. The good news for us is to remember that when we realize we've done something wrong, the Lord forgives us over and over again. But we have to be constantly looking in our lives not to try to convince ourselves that what I want to believe or what I want to be true is true, but to turn to the Lord and say, Lord, what do you teach the truth to be? My mind is finite. I cannot understand everything. Only you know all the truth. Lord, teach me and help me to change my mind and change my ways if I must do so in order to do your will. And if we can do that, then the Lord will say, well, you were trying to do my will, so therefore he will forgive our weaknesses. But not if we've decided our will really is his will, and we know what's best, and the Lord is just going to say, well, you meant well. Even if we're trying to do great things for God and thinking what we're doing is loving him and serving him well, if it's clearly contradictory to what the Lord teaches, it will have no value to save us. And so the challenge for us in looking at the passion of the Lord is to remember, especially today, Judas, that Judas thought he was doing the right thing, but even when Jesus told him what he was doing was wrong, he still didn't change. May we never make the mistake of hearing the Lord tell us what you're believing, what you're doing is wrong, and still convince ourselves that no, what I'm believing, what I'm doing is right, because after all, I love God, and all that matters is my loving intentions before him. If we do that, we'll end up making the same mistake as Judas, and woe to us when we stand before the Lord in judgment. Remember that Judas did not betray Jesus by slapping him across the face, but rather he betrayed him with a kiss. May Jesus Christ be praised. Amen.